Welcome to Season 6 of Paper Talk,
where we talk about tips and tricks on navigating and building your small creative business.
I'm Quinn Nguyen of Pingamosi.
I'm Jessie Chu of Crafted to Bloom.
And I'm Sarah Kim of Handmade by Sarah Kim.
In Season 6, we'll be sharing our experiences and insights on running a small creative business, from managing finances to building your brand.
We'll also be interviewing other small business owners and experts in the field to get their perspectives and advice.
So join us as we dive into the world of small creative businesses and help you take it to the next level.
Hello. Welcome to Paper Talk. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Today we have a special guest. Her name is Gisela Santos of Love Bloom Social. She actually runs my Pinterest strategy. If you've been on Pinterest and you've been starting to see more of my pins, you have to thank Gisela for this. So Gisela, welcome to Paper Talk. We're so excited to have you here. Tell us a little bit more about you.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. I am Gisela. I'm a social media manager, usually focusing on Pinterest and Instagram management. I started this back in 2020 when I was doing pizza delivery, and I was really tired of it. I ended up diving into the social media business, and I found my path. I love it.
Yeah, you've been doing such a great job. And your passion really shows. One thing I really love about Gisela, she's so professional on giving me the various different reports every month. Because to me, Pinterest has never been a high priority for me. It's something I knew I had to do, but I never made the time or the room to actually figure out what Pinterest was all about. And Sarah, you've mentioned the same thing. Pinterest has been very low in your totem pole on being very active on, because we were talking before the show. And we're like, why is that? Why do we push Pinterest down when it does drive a lot of traffic to our website? And I think it's because we don't get that interaction. Like, we throw it out there and then it lives there and you don't know if it's doing well unless you look at the analytics. And that's what Gisela does. She gives me a monthly report that says, hey, this particular pin is doing really well. We should do more of this. So give me more of these videos or images, or write these different types of blog posts that will drive more traffic to you. And with Instagram and TikTok, you are able to interact with your customers. And that's where, as creatives, that's where we thrive on. Yes, people really like what we do. But on Pinterest, it's like this void where people are either pinning it, but are they pinning it just to look at? Or are they pinning it for some special project that they won't work on it until months later? So it's like this, it's a long-term game for Pinterest. What do you think, Gisela?
Yeah, I know that a lot of people think of Pinterest as a search engine, which it definitely is. But rather than it being like social media and where you go to connect with the community, Pinterest is more of like a one-stop shop where you go there first for the ideas and the inspiration, and then you go through your own learning journey, and then you end up right back on Pinterest. So for people in the paper flower industry, I think it's a great tool, but I'm sure everyone is listening has gone to Pinterest to find ideas and to find more information that will help them better their craft.
Yeah. Sarah, do you use Pinterest at all?
Yes. So actually, I use Pinterest very personally. I use it for, what do I want to cook? What do I want to renovate my home for? Or like new styles or whatever. So I think there is something to say in that, because it's very personal use. Whereas Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, I'm really just checking like my comments, my likes, my engagement, my story. And then the people that I do engage with, it's for my business in a sense, right? Like, I'm commenting on Quinn because it's like, we're like on the pod together, or it's very like business. Whereas Pinterest to me is a very personal use.
Yeah.
But that means that a lot of people are probably using it for their personal use. And so I think it's very important to be on there. But I think the reason why I don't put it as a priority is because, like you said, there's not really that engagement factor where you're like commenting or, I don't know, knowing your followers or getting messages. Although I do get messages, I don't really even check the messages. I feel like I actually use Pinterest as my least priority in terms of business, and probably like more for my personal use. But all that to say that actually on my analytics on my website, it hits 30% of my views, my clicks, my revenue comes from Pinterest, which is pretty high up, because it's 30% from Pinterest, 30% from YouTube. And then I want to say here and there, it would be 30% on Instagram or TikTok. So I feel like 30% is pretty high with me being on Pinterest, like
Exactly.
That's a big chunk.
It is.
Actually, to supplement what you were saying, I think Pinterest is so personal, and that's why we don't really give it so much attention, because to me, my personal Pinterest, I know it hits every aspect of my life. I'm planning out a future wedding that I'm never going to have, probably. And then I'm also recipes or home decor. So it's very general, but I think that's why it's really great, because I think right now there's over 400 million users.
Wow.
There's a huge audience on there, and I think it's awesome. It's my favorite.
And it was a game changer when, I want to say it was pretty recent, maybe like end of last year or like middle last year, where they started letting you put links onto your reels. Or it's not a reel, I guess. It's a pin, idea pin.
Yeah.
But it's like basically a reel or a TikTok video that you can post on there. And then now you can link to whatever on your website. Whereas before, I think what you were doing is just like pinning stuff from your website so that it will link to your website. But I feel like the ones that do really well for me is the idea pin. I'll just literally recycle what I post on my Instagram, and then I'll post it on Pinterest as an idea pin. And then now you can link it. So to me, it was a pretty big game changer for business. And I think just implementing pinning your own things, it sounds silly, but because I really pinning personal things, like you said, like home decor and weddings and whatnot. But yes, I have to sit down and pin my own things.
So let's say if someone wanted to get started on Pinterest, what are the steps to claim your account and to get the ball rolling, just to ease in? What would you recommend that they do, Gisela?
So I think after you know what you're going to be pinning, the very first step would be to, number one, change your account to a business account, and then claim your website. Make sure that your website is safe. I think when Pinterest knows that you have a safe and official account, it won't have a problem pushing out your content. So after you've claimed your website, start optimizing everything, optimizing your bio, your name, your boards, descriptions. Since Pinterest is a search engine, it focuses a lot on keywords. So learning how to research keywords and making sure that you're putting in the right combinations is really important.
Yeah, use ChatGPT. If you don't know what keywords to use, ask ChatGPT saying, I'm using Pinterest. This is what I do. This is my website. Give as much information to ChatGPT as possible. And ask it, like, what keyword should I be putting out when I write my description for all these different pins? And it'll give you a list of keywords. It's so crazy awesome. I have one question I wanted to ask you is, I know some of our audience do not have a website yet. Is it required to have a website like pinkandposy.com? What if they had a different type of site like Etsy or another one-pager piece on maybe Instagram? Is that even legal? Is that considered a website?
I don't think so, to be completely honest. I know that Pinterest makes sure they like double check if a website is legal and safe. Making sure that you have an official website is important. If you don't, then linking back to your Instagram can help grow your Instagram followers, but it's probably not going to catch on. The reason I say this is because I've actually tried it with your account, with your Pink and Posy account. And the more I started using your website and your pins, the more attention you were getting and the more engagement you were getting. Compared to the ones that I would link to Instagram, I think it was because it wasn't connected to the Pinterest account. And that's why it was almost hiding that content.
Interesting. That's so cool. So if they didn't have a website, do you still recommend them doing a Pinterest account, but just being a creator? Or how would you set that up?
Oh, yeah. Actually, just now I was looking into some personal Pinterest accounts like style, fashion, and I saw Pinterest users that are influencers basically, and they do mention your website or their Instagram descriptions. And those accounts are huge, like millions, 3 million monthly viewers. And it's because they post a lot of trendy images, and their Instagram are getting those followers because they're mentioning them in the description or sometimes even in the title, which is really cool.
How important is titling your pins?
So important, super important. The keywords, since in your titles, you can put keywords into the titles. That's probably one of the most important, other than like alt text, because Pinterest uses AI and the internet to create an image. So making sure that you have keywords in your alt text and in the titles is really important to be searched and to be found.
What do you think is a good title for just, say, a paper flower specifically, or Quinn's new book? What do you think would be a good title that we could start from?
So right now I actually have a pretty good pin if you would allow me to find it. Okay, I was just looking at it and it links back to a blog, but it's about the paper flowers. And right now it has 3.2 thousand impressions with a bunch of pin clicks. And that is what's in the title is Paper Flower Craft Projects. And I have like a space and I have DIY paper flower tutorials. Basically, every word that I used in that pin was a keyword. Paper flower craft projects,
DIY,
DIY tutorials. And other words like free or step-by-step guide, crepe paper. I've seen like coffee tissue paper, different little crafts like that have so many. And a tip to search for keywords is when you go to the search bar, making sure that you put paper flower. You can even put enter. And on the top where it has like the columns or like the little colored squares that they have on top, and it has a bunch of keywords. Those are the keywords that other people are searching for and that are ranking high in the website. And you can use those as keywords too.
That's great. So let's say, I think some of our audience are so unfamiliar with Pinterest. Can you walk on your process on how to do a pin? Let's say that we're doing pre-order my book. How would you walk us through that? Is it important to have an image or a video or both? Or how many different pins on the same topic can you throw out there?
And how many pins do you have to do throughout the week?
To answer the first question, first I would take a really good image, really high quality, professional looking image. Recently, I found out that Pinterest likes images with light backgrounds. So I think that's another reason why the pin that I just mentioned did really well, because it's a paper flower, it's a paper lily, and there's a white background behind it. For some reason, Pinterest loves that. Taking that, combining it with a good graphic, that pin that I also has paper flowers in a really cool font, and combining it with the keywords when you're titling, when you're describing what the pin is, making sure that it's linking back to your official website. And if you don't, at least mentioning maybe your social media in the description. And then adding alt text. But the alt text also helps for people with disabilities, making sure that you're not just keyword stuffing in the alt text, making sure that you're describing what the image is or what the video is really helpful. What I like to do is I usually pin from 20 to 25 pins every week for an account. However, it's not the amount that you pin, it's really the consistency. So making sure that you're putting new content out every day. Pinterest loves that, because you're using the website. They're going to favor you, but it's not really a certain amount. You can pin one pin a day. It's still going to reward you basically for that consistency that you're doing.
And do you think it's obvious that a video does better than a photo? Like when we think of Instagram, we're like, oh, they're pushing out reels versus photos or whatever. Is that true on Pinterest as well?
I would say yes and no. Yes, because videos have more of a tendency to catch people's attention, but also free and value-packed pins, image pins also do very well. There's another win with Quinn's Pinterest right now that we did a free Dahlia tutorial, and the way that I created it in Canva, it has a step-by-step guide, and that's really doing well. I'm pretty sure it's going to catch up to the other pin that I mentioned. I think just putting out free and valuable content does really well on Pinterest, but Pinterest is also about aesthetics. And I know I'm referencing Quinn a lot, but there was a pin when I first started with her, and it's this really pretty video of paper daisies, and the video is very dreamy, and it fits so many different aesthetics other than just paper flowers, and that's doing really well. I think just pinning good, free, valuable content that also matches different aesthetics that could be used for so many other things. They do really well.
I want to add a little bit to this is stay true to your brand. Don't deviate and do something that's completely different. If your style is dark, stay with it because you're going to find your audience that's going to love that. Don't change what you're doing to fit. But if you're on the edge of light and airy, do more of that because that's what's driving the traffic. Just be true to yourself and you will find your audience.
And I was going to say that it's interesting because we always say, oh, that's Pinterest, whatever that is. So I think there is a type, compared to different from Instagram, different from TikTok.
Yeah.
So you want to have Pinterest worthy pins. My other question was actually, if you are using that business Pinterest account, should you also be using it for personal use and pin other people's things, or does that not even matter? Or should you just dedicate your business Pinterest account to only your business?
For Quinn and for my personal use also, I do a little bit of everything because I know that I personally follow people that are in my niche, but also that post all kind of lifestyle content and pin different aspects of their lives. So I think it's really good for Quinn. I've actually done also for home decor and recipes. I think it's really important because it involves people in your lives and that kind of starts that nurturing that lead.
Okay. So it should just be regular and natural kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Your main focus should probably be what you do as a business, but posting for other aspects of your life is probably going to aid you rather than hold it.
Yeah. Okay.
How much time should a creative person devote to Pinterest? Because you mentioned that you need to do this every day. And I feel like a lot of people are already daunted. Like, I have to create all these social media things for Instagram, TikTok. Now I have to do something for Pinterest. But in reality, you're taking the same content, you're chopping it up either to short videos or throwing it to Canva. And if you guys are not on Canva yet, make sure you have it a free account because Canva is so robust and it's evolving constantly all the time. And the best thing about Canva to me is all these great templates. And they do have Pinterest templates on there that you can throw your image or your video on there and just export it into a JPEG or PNG file and upload it. And you can do it once a month with all your content and just throw it out there. And it doesn't have to be timely. You can wait until the previous month where you create all the social media. At the end of the month, you're like, okay, I've developed all these different images, all these different videos, and you're sitting there recreating everything on Canva and you export things out. So when you say, this is what I think a lot of audience is interested in, I'm pinning 25 a week or whatever, a day. What are those pins? Are they all the same? Are they all different?
So I divide it, usually do 20 to 25 pins, and then I divide on what your priorities are. The garden bloom, workshops, tutorials. Then I take the images. Sometimes I'll take the same image and either recreate it on Canva to make something new out of it and then link it to the same blog. Every blog should at least have 5 to 7 different pins. Sometimes you can use different images. That's why when I'm creating a graphic, I usually create the same graphic, but with different images, different colors, because different things capture different audiences. If you have a tutorial coming up, making sure that you're creating different images, taking different pictures, and combining those with different keywords, because also people are searching, they might be searching for different things, or in their head, they might be searching for different things, but they're really searching for the same thing. Combining different keywords with different images, but linking to the same thing. That makes sense.
Here's another question I wanted to ask you. What if a person did not do tutorials? How can they leverage Pinterest to bring more traffic to their site?
Imagine if they're not doing tutorials, they're probably still selling some kind of service, creating paper flowers. So posting your paper flowers, posting your work in a Pinteresty way, in quotation marks, is still going to bring you traffic. Just making sure that you're being consistent. Sometimes you can take the same pictures of the same bouquet of flowers, but in different locations or in different setups, and that'll still bring you the audience that you want and bring traffic to your website.
I want to say half the people that do follow me, I am very much a tutorial-based website now. And I know my website before was a product-based website. So it's interesting because I still get like half the people going, oh, I thought I could purchase your flowers while they click on my templates or like my tutorial. I'm like, oh no, it's now just you make it. So I think it doesn't matter if it's a tutorial or a product, if you're pinning your final product, or even if you're pinning a tutorial, people still want to purchase what you made in the tutorial.
Yeah, especially if they're seeing how much work goes into it. Because I know paper flowers are so detailed and so intricate to create. Usually if people see how much work is going into it and the passion that people have, it makes it even more special to purchase.
Yes.
I agree. 100%. always share your process, even just snippets of it.
Yes.
Because I think a lot of people don't realize the time it takes to cut every single petal, cut those stamens, paint those petals. I feel like the more that you share, the more people will understand and appreciate the craft that goes into creating that one single flower. And when you just do a quick one where you throw a couple papers into the video and then bam, the flower's done. It's not that quick when you do make paper flowers. It takes hours, days to make a bouquet of flowers.
Yeah.
It's been around a really long time. How do you think it's evolving? Because you don't really hear much about Pinterest. I feel like Pinterest is that underdog that keeps moving along and evolves and grows. And also, I wanted to ask you about other apps like Tailwind that focus on Pinterest and communities. I want to talk about communities too. So I'm throwing a lot of questions at you, but pick and choose whatever you want to answer. Those are the types of things that I think our audience are curious. Like they say that when you do Pinterest, join the community to start pushing other people pins so they can push your pin. And it feels like so much work. I'm so grateful I have you to do this for me.
I think Tailwind is such a cool, Tailwind community specifically is such a cool tool to use, especially if everyone that uses Pinterest is in a certain niche. But with Pinterest communities, it basically widens your audience because everyone is there to help each other. So it's not only you pinning other people's, but they pin yours. And while they pin yours, they're also opening their audience to your work, which can then get you discovered, it's really helpful. I think it's a great tool. I think everyone should be using it. I was actually using it for another client of mine, and she ended up hitting, I think it was like 500,000 views. The downside of Tailwind is that it's not integrated with Pinterest. So the analytics are going to be different. Unfortunately, Tailwind is only going to show you the analytics and the audience that you reach there in Tailwind, and Pinterest is just going to tell you what on Pinterest. Oh, and then to answer your other question, you did ask about how Pinterest was evolving. I think one of the strengths of Pinterest is that it's sticking to its brand. Like Instagram started trying to copy TikTok, and then a lot of people were not too happy with Instagram. I think Pinterest, although it is pushing video, it's also sticking to its brand. I'm still hoping that they bring back the original idea pins. I know you can still post video, but the original idea pins were so good, and the algorithm, everything was top tier perfect. So I'm waiting for them to bring that back, but I don't think they're getting rid of video anytime soon. So putting in your efforts in creating good videos is going to get you attention. And also, I think that's it. I think Pinterest has its own game, and I think they know what they're doing.
Oh, when you do upload pins to Pinterest formats, let's talk about that. Is it better to do vertical or horizontal pins?
Vertical pins, usually the optimal size is 2x3. And I think sometimes they like it a little bit longer, so like 2x4 sometimes. But 2x3 is the optimal size. So making sure that you're pinning those will get Pinterest to like your work, basically.
Okay. That's good to know. Do you have any other questions there that you want to ask, Gisela?
I know that Pinterest is a powerful tool. I know that just from the fact that it's my last priority, and yet it still performs the best. So I feel like I would just tell everybody the same thing about being on Pinterest. I feel like you just need to have it as on your to-do list of things. I actually don't think it's that complicated. I feel like being on any other platform is much more complicated. So I feel like Pinterest isn't that hard in a sense, just because I feel like I don't overanalyze thinking, oh, how should I be on Pinterest? And then it still performs well. So I think you just need to put in a little bit of effort.
Yeah.
And it'll take you a long
I agree.
way.
All the content that is posted on Pinterest is evergreen. I know when it has pins that are still performing from years ago, and I still can't beat them. But Pinterest has anything that you put on Pinterest is going to be evergreen forever. It's probably you're still getting traffic to your website because it's not like Instagram where you only have a 24-hour, 48-hour life on social media and then it's forgotten.
Agreed. Oh, yeah. So if you guys have any questions about Pinterest, drop it down below. Gisela was kind enough to put together a checklist on how to get started on Pinterest. So If you click to our show notes, it'll take you to a link to our website, papertalk.com, and you can download that particular checklist and get you started on Pinterest. It is such a powerful tool. And I feel like as us paper flower creatives, our images are so important, and recycle them. Take them out and put them on Pinterest because it's evergreen. It's going to drive traffic to your website, to a product that you're trying to sell, a workshop that you want to sell out. And it shows that you have all these different products. Thank you so much, Gisela. Do you have anything else you want to give everybody a tip?
Oh, I would like to share a pretty big success story. Recently, I had my personal account. I was trying to find something that I couldn't find on Pinterest. And eventually, I had to create my own content, my own graphic on Canva, and it blew up. I ended up getting 1.2 million monthly views.
Yay!
And it's still blowing up and it's still getting engagement. So I think for anyone that wants to get on Pinterest, to make sure that what you're posting, what you're creating is innovative and that it's visually pleasing, either in an image format or in a video format, and making sure that your target audience is as wide as it can be. So if you're pinning something, making sure that you're trying different keywords, and it's not too rare that you see something disguised as something else. And what I mean by that is sometimes when I pin for Quinn, for example, instead of putting how to create a paper dahlia on the title, I usually use something like how to create your own flower bouquet for home decor, for spring home decor. And that widens your audience because paper flower is so niche. I think trying to create something that's innovative is going to get you lots of attention and a lot of engagement.
Thank you. That's a great tip. Okay, before we end the podcast, we always ask this of our guests. What is their favorite snack that they're either snacking or drinking right now? So what are you snacking on?
I can't get enough of Coke Zero right now. I did not drink Coke Zero at all. And for some reason, I just started and now it has no calories. So I'm drinking Coke Zero at least one a day.
I was watching this one particular TikTok. I've never seen this before, but it's a soda fountain mocktail drive-through. So you can actually have fountain sodas, but they could put coconut, different flavorings, and they sell snacks too, like cookies and other things. But the main thing is you can get all these different fountain drinks with different flavorings in. I've never seen that before.
It's like a drive-thru?
Yeah, it's a drive-thru.
Oh.
And you would just order it. And
That sounds like a drink.
I know, right? I feel like that should be something that we should have here in Seattle. But I haven't seen that. Sarah, what are you snacking on right now?
It's Girl Scout season right now. So I have so many Girl Scout cookies. I bought them all. Just a couple here and there. I want to say my favorite is the lemonades.
yes.
I don't know why. It's like just subtle. Sometimes it's like too sweet. It's too chocolatey. And then I feel like the lemonades are like my happy medium.
Yes.
What about you, Quinn?
I am actually loving the kiwi berry. So Costco has them right now, and these are tiny little kiwis. They taste like kiwi. They look like miniature kiwis, but they don't have the furriness, but you can pop the whole thing in your mouth and munch on it. It has a lot of different vitamins, but it's great. It's sweet. It's a tiny little bit of tartness, but it's so easy, and I really enjoy it.
I've never seen them before.
They just came out, and I've had them before. They actually was produced in Port Townsend in the state of Washington eons ago. And now I feel like it's becoming mainstream because Costco now carries it.
It sounds good.
Yeah. Look for it at your local Costco. I believe Trader Joe also carries it too. And also, can I also say how adorable Trader Joe mini totes are? They came out with red, yellow, blue, and green.
Viral right now.
And I have to admit, I was late to the game and I ended up...
I didn't go wait in line.
I didn't wait in line either. But I ended up picking up a yellow one. And then I saw on TikTok that they were embroidering flowers and fruits on it. And I was like, oh, how cute would that be with my yellow tote if I did either yellow flowers or lemons? Yes. So I'm waiting to finish my book so I can work on this project. But it's so cute.
Looked it up. They're super cute.
Yeah, super cute. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us this week. And if you have any Pinterest questions, hop over to Gisela website, Love Bloom Socials. It's going to be in our show notes. So check it out or DM us on Instagram with any of your Pinterest questions. And we will talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.